What if I told you that Avatar: The Last Airbender is a crash course in enlightenment? Avatar is a philosophy disguised in the form of a kids show.
Please, Father, I only had the Fire Nation's best interest at heart. I'm sorry I spoke out of turn.
It's a deeply spiritual journey based on Buddhism, Taoism, Zen philosophy, with each character teaching us about reaching highest Tao. We are presented with 3 different paths to reaching this highest Tao in the show. We start with Aang, raised by air nomads in their monasteries, that is to say, Tibetan Buddhists. He is representative of people who start out life with a spiritual formation already. In his case, practicing ahimsa, non-violence, vegetarianism, meditation, and non-attachment. His arc revolves around balancing this non-attachment to the world with his connections to the world, with the people he cares about, as well as his task that he has to this world. That is to say, in his service to the world.
But you have to. You're the Avatar.
I'm just one kid.
He struggles very strongly with letting go of these attachments, this mainly being Katara, where he questions why he would choose cosmic energy over romantic love. These are, of course, the spiritual questions, the same that Buddha Gautama asked himself. In case you didn't know, Buddha Gautama, who was a prince, abandoned his wife and child in order to walk the spiritual path. The entire scene with Guru Pathik, of course, is the best representation of inner work taking place during meditation, and it's straight from Buddhist and Hindu philosophy. The idea is that emotions such as fear, guilt, attachment block your spirituality, which Aang deals with quite well in the show. Aang's particular path involves truly knowing what is the correct thing to do, what the right course of action is. He needs to meditate despite no one else in his friend group doing so.
How about some quiet? Come on, guys, I can hear every word you're saying.
When all his closest friends tell him he needs to kill the Fire Lord because there is no other way, he has to remain steadfast and he has to stick with his values and know what the right course of action is. Perhaps you, my friend, are the friend in your social circle. Well, if you're watching this, perhaps you are. Perhaps you are the friend who's the only one who meditates, who walks the pathless path. In that case, I say, well, welcome to the channel, my friend. Before we go on to the enlightenment part, let me present you with the other 2 paths. We have Uncle Iroh, who is of course a walking Taoist sage. Taoism is the ancient Chinese philosophy of balance, flow, actionless action. Taoism is be like water, my friend, and being flexible as the bamboo as to not break in the wind. Taoist sages are humorous. They don't try to be overly holy. They enjoy their food, their tea, even their alcohol, and are sometimes described as these happy, crazy old homeless guys, but who are wise beyond understanding.
Uncle, I didn't see you get hit with the tongue.
Uncle Iroh, of course, does not force things. He drinks tea, he goes with the flow, and he teaches Zuko the same thing.
Ever since I lost my son,
Inside, however,
Uncle,
he acts out of deep compassion.
I think of you as my own.
The Tao Te Ching, the Taoist Bible, describes the Taoist sage as being compassionate and kind as a grandmother. And of course, Uncle Iroh wasn't always this way. It took possibly one of the most painful lessons any of us are able to make in this life, for him to quit being a general of the Fire Nation military and walk this path.
Happy birthday, my son.
Lastly, we have Zuko, the arguably most traumatized character of the show, who is the definition of inner struggle. He, of course, does not even have the notion of enlightenment or striving for inner peace or any of that. He is completely caught in his chase for validation, for fighting what he calls his destiny. And I personally find his inner path to be the most interesting one. His big realization is, of course, that after years and years and years of chasing this external validation, that this external approval that he was always seeking for, of course, does not bring him peace, that it wasn't the right thing to do in the first place. Once he acquires this external validation from his father, he realizes it was empty all along. He then, for the first time in his life, strives to do the right thing in the world, building healthy, genuine interhuman relationships and friendships,
I don't know how I
caring
can
for
ever
the
make it up to
people
you.
who have always been there for him. His transformation is his
How can you
awakening
forgive me so
to
easily?
compassion, to duty to the world,
Think we could have been friends
and
too?
getting out of this ego of this hunger for this external validation. And his highest state at the end of the show, when he becomes Fire Lord, is obviously not that of an enlightened monk who's sitting somewhere in the mountain, but his highest Tao is being a ruler who is just and fair. And that's sort of the point, isn't it, my friend? If we move away from these pre-sectarian notions of Buddhism for a moment, if we use Taoist and Zen terminology, we would say the point all along has been about reaching your highest Tao, your genuine, natural, highest form of yourself. That is to say, we're obviously not all supposed to become monks who meditate on a mountain somewhere in isolation all day. Of course not. It's about achieving your highest Tao as a teacher, a doctor, a painter, a wise uncle, or a ruler. That is true peace with yourself, the Tao, and the universe. My friend, Amituofo. And see you again next week.